Hi Bio4 and welcome to part 4 of senses. Well, we're moving on to now the semicircular canal. So that's a different section of the ear, of the inner ear, and I call them the loopy loops here. And that's what is not called loopy loop, but semicircular canals. These are very amazing. What they're going to do is give you a perception of rotational movement of the head. So we've been talking about sort of horizontal movement, riding in a car or riding in an elevator where it's going to be vertical. But what about when you spin, when you're rotating? And that's going to be detected by the semicircular canals. So look at this aspect now. What it's going to look like is these loops here that are able to detect movement in 3 different angles. So this is a funny picture here, but imagine yourself, I'm going to start on the bottom here, imagine yourself tilting your head, that's sort of be one angle, or another one that's when you shake your head no, you're sort of rotating your head around and you want to know where your head is in space. And then there's another one for yes, which is up and down. So you want to do up and down, left and right, and tilt. And you want your ear to be able to tell you when you're doing any one or 3 of those. So how does it work? Well, just like we spoke of fluid before, there's going to be a certain fluid within these semicircular canals, and it's that movement of that fluid that's going to move a neuron. So if you have a neuron sitting, you have a little a plant in a river, and the river starts to move, right? It's stopped, it's like a lake, and all of a sudden it starts to move. That plant is going to bend, right? And the bending of that plant, or in this case of the neuron, in that fluid is going to send an action potential to the brain saying, hey, there's some movement going on here. So think of those 3 loops filled with fluid. And then, and this is a picture here of a neuron. We can see it here at rest. And the neuron has a little hat on it. It's called the cupula. And that is sitting inside this gelatinous fluid material. It's sort of more jelly-like. And that whole region where that cupula is sitting is called the ampulla. So it's sitting inside the hooded here neuron. Okay, so let's move on. So when you moving the head in any of those directions that I already showed you, you're going to have the movement of the fluid. The fluid is going to move the neuron. So imagine here, we started out with it at rest. And then here, if you have a direction of the rotation, you're rotating this way, what's going to happen is that the fluid is going in the opposite direction. It sort of gets left behind, and it's going to bend this cupula. And the bending of the cupula is going to send a signal around off to the nerve right there. Or if the direction of your rotation is in the other way, you're heading over that way, it's essentially the neuron getting left behind, and then it has to catch up. And so then that point in which it's left behind, because you're moving your head, that's where the signal is going to come saying, hey, you're moving in one of these directions. This is a very short video, and that's good. I'm going to stop it here. And when we move on, we're going to move on to still in the inner ear bit. Now we're going to look at the cochlea. So we will have stopped here, and thanks for listening.